Delle Donne. I'm the president of Pixel. At Pixel, besides organizing conferences, we are also involved in international projects in the field of education. And what we do is we support lecturers or researchers who have good ideas in the transformation of these good ideas into projects that have chances of being funded by the European Commission for carrying out international research projects. So in this presentation, I will focus on the Erasmus program, and we will see how this program can help universities carrying out international cooperation projects. So the Erasmus program has three main objectives that are very, very wide. And the first one is inclusion and diversity, the promotion of digital transformation, and environmental sustainability. So any project submitted in the framework of the Erasmus Plus program should contribute to achieving these transversal priorities. Who can participate? The program is addressed, first of all, to higher education institutions, to schools, to vocational education and training organizations, adult education centers, as well as youth organizations. From which countries? Basically from countries all over the world. So it doesn't matter where you are based with your university. You can apply in different modalities for funding for from the Erasmus Plus program. The budget, the biggest share of the budget that for Erasmus is 26 billion euro for the 7-year period, is the bigger budget is given to the higher education sector, as you can see, and then the other parts would be the vocational education training sector, school education, and then the other actions. The program is very wide, so it's organized in 3 main actions, and then there is the so-called Jean Monnet action, but we will just analyze 2 of them. The first one is the staff mobility, and the second one is the so-called partnerships for cooperation. As far as mobility is concerned, I'm sure you all have heard of Erasmus for exchanges and mobility of staff, mobility of students. I myself have been an Erasmus student in Paris many years ago. So it's the oldest action of Erasmus, and there are funding for allowing teachers, researchers, staff of universities, as well as obviously students, not only at university level, but also at school education level, for traveling and having a study or a teaching experience abroad. So what kind of activities can be funded? As far as staff is concerned, it's job shadowing. So it is possible for a lecturer to go to another country and assist another lecturer and see how they work and see their experience. It is also possible to have funding for teaching or training assignments, so to go to another university and teach, or to attend courses or training. The conference participation fees are not allowed, because this is a question that we often are asked. So, but it is possible to get funding to go to another country to attend a training program. The duration, as you can see, for job shadowing and for teaching or training assignment can be up to 1 year, while the duration of courses can be up to 1 month. And then there are the others, but as I was saying, I will just focus on the first one. So in order to be involved in an Erasmus mobility, you need basically two main participants. One is the sending university and the other one is the receiving organization. So the sending organization is usually a university or it can be a school. The receiving organization can be different types of organization. It can be also a university or a school, but it can also be a training provider where the staff of the sending organization go and have for example, a course. I'll try to, okay. The budget for higher education institution, the university receives 400 euro for each participant. So these 400 euro are kept by the university to cover the cost for organizing the exchange. Then there is up to 180 euro per day per person. This is up to because it depends on the country of destination. There are countries where the cost of living is higher and therefore the funding is higher, up to 180 euro per day. There are countries where the cost of living is lower and then the budget will be lower. Similarly, it can be for travels between 180 and 1,500 euro. It depends on the distance. Of course, if I'm traveling from Florence to Paris, the budget will be lower than if I'm traveling from Florence to Johannesburg. So, in a nutshell, participants are at least two. The duration is maximum 26 months, and the grant can be submitted to the national agencies that is managing the Erasmus program. And these are some examples of mobility projects in which Pixel has been involved. So we deliver, in the framework of the mobility initiative, we deliver in-service training courses for teachers or trainers. And these are two examples. This is one is on innovative practice in higher education, and the second one was on intercultural education. The second action is the cooperation among organizations and institutions. It's KA2, while mobility it's KA1. In the framework of this another big action, I will focus on the partnership for cooperation. But I will also say right now a few words on the capacity building program. As many of you are not from Europe, let's say that in the partnership for cooperation, non-European universities can participate, but they cannot be the applicant organization. So they can participate as a partner, but not as an applicant organization. Also, in the partnership for cooperation, non-European universities that are not members of the EU, so including the UK now after Brexit, they can participate only if the added value that is provided by them is justified. So I have to demonstrate that I have involved in my project the University of New York because there is a specific competence that only the University of New York can provide. And sometimes this is easy to justify, sometimes it's not. So only if we can demonstrate that the University of New York has this specific expertise that provides an added value to the project, then they can participate in the cooperation part, in the partnership for cooperation. The capacity building program is different. In the capacity building program, non-European universities can and should be the applicant organization. However, they should be in the so-called developing countries. So the University of New York cannot participate because the US is not a developing country. But many countries from, for example, South America, Africa, Asia's universities from these countries can participate, and they should be, they don't have to be, but they should be. It's better if the the applicant organization is them. And the purpose of this capacity building program is to support universities in the so-called developing countries to improve, to innovate, to have to improve the governance, to improve the teaching program, etc. And this is a very interesting opportunity if you're working in a university that is not based in Europe. The budget for capacity building is between 400,000 up to 1 million euros per project. But as I was saying, in this presentation, I will now focus on the partnership for cooperation. So the partnership for cooperation, as I said, they are addressed, first of all, to universities based in the European Union, but I repeat, universities from all over the world can be involved as partners as long as they provide this added value. For example, if there is a specific experience that we in Europe would like to import, then we can involve universities or other institutions. I'm speaking of universities because this is the sector where most of you belong, but all kinds of institutions in the field of education. So there are two types of partnerships for cooperation. The first type is the cooperation partnership, and I will now focus on this. They are bigger projects. As far as partnership for cooperation, there are also horizontal priorities. They are, as you will see, the same as the ones I was mentioning earlier as the general priorities of the Erasmus program, so inclusion and diversity, in environmental issues, the protection of the environment, the promotion of digital education, civic engagement and participation. But there are also the so-called field-specific priorities. So, as you can see, there are 4 areas: higher education, school education, vocational education, training, and adult education. And for each area, there are specific priorities that change a little bit, not much, but change a little bit every year. As you see, the priorities are very wide. For example, stimulating innovative practice, developing STEM or STEAM, rewarding excellence, building an inclusive higher education system. So basically, any idea can somehow be adapted to fit at least with one of these priorities. The budget for cooperation partnership is for up to 400,000 euro. But you can also choose to have a smaller project for a budget. They are like lump sum, so you can apply for a project for 400,000 euro, or for a project for 250,000 euro, or for a project for 120,000 euro, depending on the relevance of the project, on the activities you intend to carry out, on the number of partners involved. An interesting piece of information, I don't know how much you can see here, but is the success rate. This action, while I mentioned earlier the capacity building program. The capacity building program addressed to non-European universities is a so-called centralized action, meaning that the application is to be submitted directly to the European Commission, to the executive agency of the European Commission. The partnerships for cooperation are the so-called decentralized action, meaning that they are to be submitted to the national agency. So an Italian university will submit the project to the Italian National Agency. A university in Malta will submit the project to the Maltese National Agency, and so on. The reason why I put this slide here is to underline that there is a big difference. So if you submit, for example, your project in, let's say, Italy, you will see that, let me see, 1,067 projects were submitted last year and 346 projects were approved. So the opportunities of having a project approved in Italy are much, much fewer than Sweden, where 160 projects were submitted and 90 were approved. So in Sweden, the percentage of projects approved is more than 50%. This is definitely not the case in Italy, where we are about to, now you are the expert on calculation. Exactly, yes. 24, 25. So 20, let's say 25 in Italy versus more than 50% of chances in Sweden. For this reason, universities who are more expert in this, they find a way to ask the university based in the country where there are more chances of having the project approved to submit the project. The similar situation is in general in all the Scandinavian universities, where a budget of 400,000 euro is not very interesting, while for southern European countries, it's a lot of money. So this is one of the reasons why there are more chances of having a project approved if you submit it in Austria, Denmark, Germany. In Liechtenstein, 11 projects submitted, 8 were approved. So, in a nutshell, partnership for cooperation, at least 3 organizations should be involved from 3 different countries. As I said, partner countries are not, the countries that are not member of the EU can only participate as project partners and not as applicant. The duration, it can be 1 to 3 years. Every year, the call for proposal is published in October, and the deadline for submitting the projects is in March. This year, it will be next Tuesday. And as I said, the grant has to be submitted to the national agency. What can you do with these types of projects? What can you produce with these kind of projects? You can decide to work together with other universities to create a new curriculum, or you can develop online courses. You can create collection of teaching sources. You can publish a manual. You can create guidelines, teaching methodologies, etc., etc. So the purpose of these types of projects is to collaborate to create something that has the characteristics to be innovative. It has to be tangible even though it's an online course, but it has to be tangible, meaning that it's there. So not only the delivery of a course, but the development of an online training package that has the possibility to stay after the end of the funding program. So they have to be innovative, they have to be tangible, and they have to be transferable. So it's important to think of something that will benefit not only the partners who are involved in the project, but also potentially other countries, other European countries. These are some examples of projects approved. I see my time is almost up, so I will very briefly go through them. This is a project in the field of medicine for pediatric medicine. This is a project on science education. This is a project on chemistry, etc. If you check on our website, you will see all the example of the projects. Okay, the capacity building program, I already mentioned this. So I will just go to an example of capacity building project that is an ongoing project with the University of Ramallah in Palestine, and we are creating there a new program for training future kindergarten teachers, and this is an ongoing project, and this is another project, but I will now finish. If you need further information about these types of funding opportunities, you can contact me. What we do is, as I was saying at the beginning, we can help transforming good ideas into European projects. And we do this in a way for free because we decide to invest on your idea. We work together on your idea, and Pixel will join the project as a partner. And then if the project is approved, we are a partner of the project, and we will participate in the project as the partner in charge of supporting management, dissemination, quality assurance, etc. That's it. Thank you very much.